You decided to change the scenery and move somewhere else. How do you know that the place is best for you and your family? Should it be a different city? Should it be a different state, or maybe a different country? How do you convince others to relocate with you? I'm in Cupertino, sitting at my place. It's 5 a.m. in the morning, and I have been working on this video for a very long time, and I know that California topic overall triggers a lot of us, especially if we live in California, because recently I've been shocked about learning what's happening in California right now while I was working on my research. I moved a lot in my life, and I have changed neighborhoods, I have changed cities, I have changed countries, and in this video I am super excited to share with you how do I approach to the decision of moving to another place. I know how moving can be hard, especially if you're moving with your family. I lived in California for around 20 years. Well, if you round it up, then it's gonna be like 20 years, a little bit less than that. But anyways, and my whole life is here, right? I have my favorite Trader Joe's for grocery shopping. I go to the same nail salon for a very long time. Something breaks, I know where to go, or I know where to call, and if I ran out of salt, I know my neighbors and I can go to them and they would be happy to help me. I have my life figured out, and to start over, it's a challenge. But if moving somewhere else will lead you to a higher quality of life, why not? At Meta, we used to say that the only constant is the change. Quote, since 2020, when the population decline began, California's population has shrunk by about 500,000 people. Experts credit California's high cost of living as the main driver for people's moving out of state. End quote. If you have doubts whether you should leave California, you're not alone. 500,000 people have made this decision and moved. I bet another million of California residents are thinking about the same thing. Okay, maybe you thought about leaving California, but where do you go? Texas, where people genuinely hate Californians? Florida, where half of Silicon Valley escaped? New York, which I doubt because most of Californians hate New York because of fast-paced concrete jungle environment and the same high cost of living. New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made of, there's nothing you can't do. What options do you have outside of the US? If I wouldn't be moving around a lot and never had an experience moving to a different city or a country, I'd be confused too. How do I start? What do I consider? Based on what do I make this decision? And how do I convince my family members to relocate with me? How do I prove them that this is the right choice? Usually I consider places where I have been physically, where English is spoken as a first language or a second language. I am considering a couple of countries in Europe, and in my case, I'm not looking into job opportunities. I won't be looking for a job at a new place, and I'm not excluding that completely, but as a content creator for now, I'm focusing on my YouTube. And if I decide to work for a company, most likely it would be remote and it would be a tech company. Whether I move to another country or another state or another city, these are the things that I pay attention to. The first one is a city vibe. First and foremost, I like places with busy downtowns because I like to walk on the streets, I like to stop by the coffee shop, I like to do window shopping at a local store, I like to see people outside, I like to look at people outside, I like to see little cafes and restaurants with outdoor seating. I like to explore different cuisines, and overall I want to feel the city's dynamic being close to me. For me to feel the energy of the city, to explore, I need to smell, I need to feel the vibe. And if the city has a lot of tourist attractions, that's also great, because that also increases the quality and the variety of services. I'm not saying about to live in the center of the city, but to have a close proximity to the coffee shops, to the cafes, restaurants, grocery shopping. I think it's important. And the idea of, being able to explore historical landmarks and immerse myself into the culture, the museums, that's definitely, an extra excitement to a daily life, something that you can do on the weekends or on holidays. Comfortable weather. I'm drawn to places where sun shines bright and the temperature is just right all year round, because the idea of living without the harshness winter, where I can bask in warmth all year, is more than a dream. It's the reality I've been actively seeking after growing up in Astana, Kazakhstan, because in Astana the summer is very hot and the winter is very cold. And it's not only that you can have to experience negative 40 Celsius or negative 40 Fahrenheit, you also have to face the extreme windstorms that look like a scene from the movie The Day After Tomorrow. And I avoid places with extreme cold weather conditions at all costs. I think Florida winter is perfect for me, and I definitely can handle California's winter too. The proximity to the ocean is not a priority for me. I can live comfortably, let it be lakes or rivers, even pool. Like, ocean is not that important. Safety is more than just a preference, it's a fundamental need, because feeling secure in my surroundings is essential for my family and for my well-being as well. I always make decisions on traveling or moving anywhere else depending on the safety of the place. There are countries where anywhere you go, it's not safe. There are cities that provide safety in certain areas, but you need to avoid dangerous areas. For example, in San Francisco, I used to live in Lower Nob Hill, and just a couple of blocks away there is an area called Tenderloin. And if you lived in San Francisco, you've definitely heard about Tenderloin and how to avoid it. It's in the center of the city. Living in that area made me really hate traffic lights, because when I was walking and you suddenly stop at the red light, the only thing that you pray for is that no one bothers you, asks you for a change, or randomly starts screaming into your ear. Or worse, they can become aggressive towards you. Or Oakland, where I went to school. Not all parts of Oakland dangerous, but there's definitely a reputation for safety concerns. Some parts of Oakland have issues with gang-related activities, with violence, with burglaries, with robberies, and Oakland is a city I would never consider for moving. Cupertino, on the other hand, has generally been considered a safe city with a lower crime rate compared to many other areas in the United States. It is known for its suburban environment, well-maintained neighborhoods, and strong sense of community. In Cupertino, it is safe to walk to school with kids. Some kids walk or bike to school on their own, and it's pretty safe. How do I find out about the crime rate in a certain city? I Google it. Or I just check on Zillow, or I ask in the groups or in the communities on Facebook, or I try to find friends who have friends in that area, and I get their perspective on the safety and on other things too. When I figure out the country and the city, I look into schools. If in the US, schools must be highly rated. In a good neighborhood, walkable distance to the school, or less than 1 mile drive. If we're considering a different country, then I will search for a good international school, because my daughter's primary language is English. Now let's talk about real estate prices versus real estate quality. California's disadvantage is overpriced real estate. You will not buy a decent house in a good condition, in a good neighborhood for less than $1 million. The rent in a nice building, community, or a house for a family of 3 in a good neighborhood with a good school district will cost you around 5 to 7K per month. What's important for me when I look into a house or apartment? High ceilings, fresh, modern, updated kitchen, hardwood floors, backyard to feed at least 10 people for a barbecue. Okay, backyard is nice to have when renting. I also have to mention that before blindly buying like 100%, it's better to rent in that area because I need to make sure that I like the area, I feel myself safe, it's not noisy at night, nothing's weird going on. And for me personally, I have to see how's flora doing there because I hate insects of all kind. Spiders, ants, mosquitoes, flies, even butterflies. Everyone who has more than 4 limbs, I start having panic attacks. And most importantly, of course, I need to make sure that we're not feeling lonely at a new place, that we're able to find different activities, social events, and definitely make some friends. Proximity to an airport and a city center. I try to check how soon I can get to the airport by car during the rush hour, and by public transportation. Personally, I don't like to take public transportation, but sometimes it's easier to take public transport or Uber to the airport. Or if I have a social event in the city, I'll be drinking maybe like a glass or 2 of wine, so that I just have, the opportunity to take the public transport. Or sometimes, like when you go to the city center, it's crazy impossible to find any parking. Once I have all of these points figured out, I need to convince my family. Luckily, they keep an open mind about moving anywhere, somewhere, so as long as we've done a thorough research and I prove that this is the place and it's going to be the best for the whole family. How do I convince? I create a presentation. I'm not joking. If you're looking into moving to a different country, make sure that everyone's on board with the new culture, language, and adaptation. Once you have a country and a city figured out, provide 3 options in your presentation of the areas that include the schools nearby, the proximity to the city center, to the restaurant, to the grocery shopping, to the public transportation, and also include photos of the houses or apartments in that area with the prices, just to give an idea of what's going on and how it's going to look like. Once my presentation is ready, I show it to the whole family. First of all, it shows that I am serious about this move. Second, I did put an effort and made my big research. And third, my family's opinion is important to me, and pitching it to them shows that we're in this together. This is my approach. Please share with me if you have a different approach. I'd love to learn from you too. And I appreciate you for spending this time with me. I hope that you will have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.